experiencing art, I think, and creating art connects us with a channel of empathy into our own psychology. And of course, if someone is a therapist, you hope that applies also to the people that you are working with. I did not come up with that wonderful thought. It's from Alain de Botton, who co-authored a book called Art as Therapy that I came across at the Whitney Museum. And I have to thank Gabriel Richardson, sitting next to me, for saying, Mom, you have to go ahead and buy that book, even though it's a great, big, expensive hardcover. It will be important. And you were right. And many students have read it since then. So I was really thrilled to find this, something that bridged these two worlds. And as an artist, as an art therapist, I'm really interested in what you could think of as languages of images, of materials, of approaches to making things, to creating things. That rely on this sort of empathic connection between ourselves and the world, and of course, to other people. This is not a therapy drawing, although I do get permission to share things because I teach and I write. This is from a group in a kindergarten. And, you know, take a look at how many suns there are there in spite of the rain. And this little girl is bringing in those images, you know, her personal symbols, you know, where she can inhabit a world where there's more than one sun and one of them can be like the rainbow. And the rain is a rainbow. It is. It is. And this is the child with me. And that is one of the first kinds of relationships that kids put into their art. Their relationship with another person, with a place, with their cat, with their dog, with the rainbow, with somewhere that they like to be. So I like to give people the opportunity to reflect on those relationships and those places, and also to create them. And Ron, one of the things that you suggested I do is show a little bit of my work.
Yes.
It's just going to be a little bit. And what I have chosen are the pieces that children see, that families see when they come in. So this is this is composed of teeny tiny little squares cut from a couple of very large drawings with oil pastels. And it's kind of like a sailor's valentine. It's made up of fragments. It's a heart. And this is hanging. Sorry, everybody, the beautiful trees have given me allergies.
We're all suffering.
So this is hanging where people come in. So now I'll let this speak for a moment and have another sip. And this is the only piece that I have made that's actually inside my office, because we never want to predetermine what it is people feel they're supposed to do or be able to do. And I chose this because it's small and it's like a teeny little window. It's sort of off on the side. And again, to go back to what you were saying, Ron, at the beginning, just symbolically for me, giving everybody one more little window into maybe the selves or the world or other people is something I really want to do. And here's what lives behind my desk. It's a little bit pale, If you want to see the colors better, come later and look at my laptop because they're much brighter. But this is like a notebook or a story that is unfolding. And again, that is a piece of what we're doing. So I'm going to jump from New Bedford, which is where I work. Not when I'm teaching. When I'm teaching, I'm in Cambridge. So my worlds are a little far apart. But nearly 20 years ago, I went to China for the first time. I went to Beijing to work with creative arts therapists there. And Gabriel and John have met my friend Chen Hong. She comes from a very prominent Chinese medical family. And I'm talking about this now because she has a different conceptualization about how healing and art come together. And it's very natural, it's very cultural. People have been talking about that connection for thousands of years. And when you bring it up, nobody says, well, that sounds strange. How does that work? Does that work? How do you justify? Do people actually pay money for that? Does insurance pay money for that? You know, it's a very, very different discussion. And I don't know if anybody follows the New York Times, but a couple of days ago, they published a major study where researchers had discovered the connection to the meridians. Did you see that?
I saw different.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And I sent it to Chen Hong and she said, well, yes, of course, but we need to have a lot of people read this. So another influence on my life. But
Jane, you said the meridians?
the meridians. So the acupuncture meridians.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking maps and globes. And
Oh, goodness. Well, it's like the map and globe of us,
Okay.
you know, and a lot of the endpoints of a lot of the meridians are at the ends of our fingers.
So I'm not priced for that one, but it might be the same one, but it was talking about art among Jesse.
Oh, that's another really good one.
I saw the art among Jesse.
Yes, yes. And the Christopher Bailey and a whole team from the World Health Organization have been actively investigating the connections between art and healing. And they have amazing people on their team, like the soprano Renee Fleming is talking about music. There's a lot of drama therapy people. So it's very exciting, but interesting that it's coming from the cultural side and the art side and not from the therapy side. But the worlds are moving together in a different kind of way. So I wanted to talk about the homework that I did before I went to Beijing. And here is what I learned. The ancient Chinese painters believed that art is like a heart print of the artist. So they said, instead of depicting only the landscape as it appears, it's also your felt connection with this landscape. So there's another level, you know, overlaid on contemplating the scene, making the work, and that people feel when they look at this work. And I remember thinking, wow, this is such a great art therapy concept. Why are we not talking about this? And I have a big project that Gabriel has helped me with. Gabriel Richardson is a wonderful printmaker, which is the Heart Print project. So if art is a heart print, it's reflecting the artist as well as what they're depicting. And this is really true no matter how old you are. Children show us who they are through their art. And hi. Oh, you just came in for a really good line. And, art reveals what leaves an imprint on our psyches. So our feelings, our relationships, our connection to place and to nature. I'm going to digress a little bit. The professors here will like this. I remember having a colleague who shall remain nameless, you know them, say to me, but our students, our art therapy students, our expressive therapy students, are so connected with their feelings, and what they are making is so personal. And I said, what do you think they are doing down the street at the art school, at Leslie Art and Design, Gabe's alma mater? I said, they're doing exactly the same thing. This felt connection is really essential to art. We are not the only people doing it. We're not the only people cultivating it. We're doing it a different way. We have some different ways in, but I assure you, it's happening all over our neighborhood. So it's that connection, that process, and understanding and insight. That is the heart of art therapy. That's really the simple definition, is we're connecting through art. We're connecting in here, we're connecting out there, we're connecting with other people, we're connecting with nature, we hope, because we want nature to prevail and to last. This is, in fact, what it's all about. And trusting the process, which is what my first art therapy teacher, Sean McNiff, who worked with Peter London, Ron. Peter came and did a postdoc and worked with Sean. And that's where some of his art therapy ideas came from. Trusting the process is really simple. However, there's a big difference between simple and easy, right? But that is, in fact, the way through. So I found this conversation with Tracy Emin, where she's explaining how her drawings happen. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is really connected to the process idea. And here's what she said. My emotions force the drawing out of my hand. I am the custodian, the curator of the images that live in my mind. So that's what she's doing. That is what the little girl creating the rainbow rain is doing. That, in a variety of ways, is what we all are doing. So really soon now, we're going to get to make things. But what I would like for us to think about and to try is exploring the process, whatever that means to you, by reaching inward before looking outward. And when I explain this sequence to students, it's one of the first things we ever do, or explain it to children who understand it much more quickly, by the way. I think of it as working inside out. So first we look inward, and then we look around us and we reach outward. And along the way, we pay attention to the process. So here's a couple of really unintimidating examples of work by very well-known artists. Oops. There we go. Anybody want to guess who made that? It's not a quiz. It's okay if you don't know. And it's good that you can't tell because
Who did you say?
I didn't say it. I said it's kind of good that you can't guess because that means good choice in terms of it not looking eminent and intimidating. So this is a charcoal drawing by Georgia O'Keeffe of a headache.
The headache.
Yeah. And
Far away from flowers and frills.
yeah, but that's the going inward part, and really, connecting with this felt sensation. I would love to know whether her headache started getting better after she drew this. But absolutely fascinating. I had to take a picture of it at MoMA because it was not the catalog. I thought this is perfect. I now have to show this every semester. So there's an example of going inward and putting out in your work what you are experiencing. And this one is a little more outward, and this is a really hard guess. I don't think it's signed. Is it signed? Oh dear. Oh, it has the date. Yay, thank you.
So you could use that for context to guess who it is.
Yes, you could. And you could probably guess who it is.
I don't know who it is. Was I Twombly?
Nope. No, it's a woman. What is the book that you gave me for Mother's Day? Nope. No, we're getting close.
I know the answer.
Though. Gabriel knows the answer to the trick question. You're getting close. You got the right period.
It's not a Hill of Frankenthal.
Yes, it is. Somebody buy the man another beer.
When is he?
And
Having the Irish ale, thank you.
And it almost looks like she did it with a lipstick. So, yeah, the lips are in there. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say the cooning at first, because people the whole thing with the lips and it's a Playboy or whatever they took out Marilyn Monroe's lips from stuck them on that one painting at Big infamous.
So even the people that some of us get on the train to New York to go and see, are doing this kind of informal, inward and then outward, putting your lipstick on the page and making an art process.
How large is that piece?
How large is it? When I saw it, it didn't have a size, but my sense is it's little. It's little and informal because look how big the lips. Those are the lips. Yeah. So this is like a sketchbook page, I'm pretty sure. And the fact that we don't know that is interesting because somebody like me is really interested in that kind of process, how somebody puts this fleeting moment on the page, and I'm interested, I love her painting, but I'm interested in this for a whole bunch of other reasons, but we don't know that. And I think that it's sort of notable as well that the O'Keeffe is not in the catalog. Somebody like me had to come along and say, oh, I need a picture of that. This is a really, really good one to share. So we are going to pay no attention to
Are you showing more
this.
slides?
No, that's all the shots. We're not going to pay any attention to this because we'll get dizzy. But we're going to sort of try out this process. And here is, we need Ron because this is an idea that came from Ron. Right.
Just keep going.
I'll tell him later.
Come
So,
away.
oh,
No, he's not.
scary mommy. So when we connect with art, it can instill hope. And that's also a responsibility of therapy. You know, if people do not feel hopeful about the outcome, why should they even try? So this idea of artist hope can be really important. And here's the connection to artists making art. Being hopeful is really important hi Paula, as you are creating your work. So to go back to Alain de Botton from what I said at the beginning, he suggests when artists get stuck, it's not necessarily a lack of skill, but it's an absence of hope that holds humans back in their endeavors. So, and again, here's a Ron question. You both came in at a good time. How do we get there? How do we move around these obstacles that exist in our work or in our lives? So I'd like to suggest these equally could be art questions, they could be therapy questions, they could be art therapy questions, and probably useful to explore in both contexts. So everybody has some teeny weeny little cards on their table. Oh, and you need some
guys
markers.
don't have it.
You can come sit with us.
Yeah, come over here where this.
We've got all the good stuff. We have all the colors.
This shows us, hey, it's a Bedford.
Okay, so before you start drawing, here's what we're going to do. I want to invite you to draw your breath. Before you do that, you might want to remember to breathe. You might or might not want to close your eyes for a moment so that you could focus. And just depict your breath however you become aware of it right now. It could be the rhythm, could be the color. There's absolutely no wrong way to do this. So this is the inside part. Does everybody have markers and teeny little cards? I like these because you can put them in your pocket, you can put them in your wallet.
See how they're rounded?
I had never seen the round ones. I thought, oh good, nobody is gonna like be all relaxed and then get stuck on the corners of the stiff paper. And while you're doing this, here's something I suggest to my students. Pay attention to the sounds around you because everybody is drawing. You're not drawing alone. And you're going to hear some rhythmic, like I can hear Ron right now. Ron's rhythm is like, but it's important that there is a rhythm. And of course, if we had a big roll of paper and markers and a handful of toddlers, they would know exactly what to do. And we all once did know exactly what to do. And hesitation and judgment and many other things. Wow. So in this teeny weeny little card, you've got, okay, what's the relationship between what's going on here and what's going on here? It's interesting. And when does it change? There's loads of little cards. You can take some and you can do that. So I borrowed this from an art therapist named Barry Cohen, someone I've known for many, many years. And this is one of the first sort of somatic art exercises, if we have to give it a label, in a book called Managing Traumatic Stress Through Art. Okay, so disregard the word traumatic for the moment, but it can be really helpful to sort of settle your state. I mean, and the way that I think about it, a state is not an emotion, it's not something we're doing, it's just related to how we are, in this moment in time and space. But what his research found out is that this is one of the things that helps people to focus in a different way and to manage stress, because when we're stressed out, we're not breathing. And I'm breathing a lot better. I've been giving Ron the daily bulletin. I don't know if my voice is going to come back. I'm very grateful to have the mic. Right. Fading. I'm melting. Thank you. But, you know, there's something kind of enlivening, I think, about doing this kind of thing. Anybody else have something you want all of us to know?
Did you know? Paul, you want to show? No? Oh, okay.
And that is fine.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, well, great.
Okay, so when you hold it like that, it almost feels like, okay, Jane, would you interpret? And going back to China, that was an experience I had when I went there and I gave a workshop, and people are coming up to me and they're showing me stuff and they're saying, what does this mean? It's like, you just made it. Let's explore the story. And I didn't, realize, now I know that was such a different way of looking. And people are like, wow, I get to decide what this means? That's really cool. So John, what does this mean to you? What's going on here with the orange and the blue?
Well, it's we're just putting down the pattern of the breathing
Great.
and that. And what struck me after I did it was, gee, I miss the solo smokes, because the traces and that is.
When I first saw it, John, I thought immediately the Jetsons. I don't know why. Very 50s, when everybody did the space race, and 60s and such kind of a feel to it.
Wow. So all that from these little lines on this teeny tiny card, we make a lot of associations and connections. So I invite you, put this in your wallet. If you want to, draw something on the other side. If you feel like there is a part 2, there's like 100 of these little cards. Take some with you and do more.
Jane, I got to say that it's not the exercise itself, but just the idea of the cards. For some reason, it's something where you can dash off something very, very quickly and not be intimidated by
Yes.
a larger sheet or whatever.
Yep.
And because they're almost like a napkin that you can throw away, you just let it rip.
They're naturally a little sketch.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Unencumbered. Yeah.
But it also, so there is that. It's so not intimidating. Although they do make these out of really good quality watercolor paper too, so you can start to get a little precious. But I bought, like the biggest, cheapest pack possible to say take as many as you want. There's something. Oh gosh, I digress again. Scale is really important. And when I work with kids, we've got everything from this to a giant roll of paper, and they get to pick. I do not pick. And with students, I do get to pick, and they're like, I really have to cover this whole thing up? Do your students do that?
No, not really. Yeah. I do remember a freshman foundation where figure drawing studios, the biggest problem for the instructor was to get us to spread out, go to the edges, because it was like, as one instructor would call it, this is all spit in the ocean. You got all this, if you were paying for all this paper, why would you only use up that much of it?
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's an intimidation issue.
Yeah. So it's kind of a different way of exploring our relationship with space, and then we're done, we can put it in our pocket.
Yeah.
Just like the little stone that you were talking about.
Yeah, one of the ways I look at it, A billboard is not an object of condemnation. Something this small is.
Wow, that's good. That's very John Cage. Thank you, John.
John, this is intimacy. This is intimate.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Although when I was doing abstract expressionist work, I always wanted to go bigger because I wanted to be in paint.
You want to make things big. People like it that
You
way.
need a full range from the shoulder and they're down. Instead of being constricted to something smaller.
Wow, and to go back to the little heart from Helen Frankenthaler, she always used to talk about her wrist, you know, how did she use her wrist and her shoulder to put that mark on there. Okay, is everybody ready to do two things? Look outward and totally de-stress by working with probably one of the least intimidating modeling materials around. Yeah, it warms up really quickly. You can do anything from
Already made the snake.
no, this is the top half of a person. And I love having these because people say, oh, I can't make anything. And I say, oh, I bet you can make person. Look, all you have to do is pick your colors. Ta-da, there is a person. So this time I would invite you to look outward a little bit, you know, and think about what in your world you would like to depict in clay. This is the wrong color for our dog, which is my go-to. And this warms up pretty quickly. You just squeeze it in your hands. It's really, yeah, it's nice. Michael's, and you get, yeah, it's just Michael's, and you get like, I don't know, 20 colors.
It's like I have patients that just need to work their dance, but I know that there are other kids and we have like tons of therapy,
Right,
which
right.
doesn't mold, doesn't like. You can make snakes, you can cush, but I would love to be able to be like, so, tell me,
Yeah.
make something,
What does it look like?
and
Yeah.
It's far more, I don't know. But Medline doesn't sell it, so I have to make friends with the new activities director.
I have a whole, I'm happy to show you this other PowerPoint that I have in my computer. Actually, did I share this in China? I've been doing some continuing education for the Central Academy of Fine Arts in Beijing because they're starting an art therapy program. And I did this whole sequence of different kinds of modeling material and why would you use them. So it's all just sitting here on my laptop.
And like at a preschool, I was the one who was like, well, why are the loons in storage? We need to get them back out. Raise up.
I can't remember her first name, but I think his last name was Nesbitt. And it was the geography of place of the geography of thought. Geography of thought. Where he
The geography of thought.
he was in class lecturing, and an Asian student in the great beach spot, I remember called Asia, and are where exactly in Asia, says, "Oh no, you're wrong," and he was challenged by the student by saying that in front of everyone, and he was perplexed by it, and he went on to look into it a little bit more, went to China, and he discovered that's a whole different way of seeing there than, you know, in the Eastern world versus the Western world. In the Western world, we look at things in holes. There, they look at things in parts. Like an aquarium, they won't see the entire aquarium. They'll see the individual fish, the individual plants in the aquarium, the gravel. But that was one of the things I remembered from that, which I found fascinating.
Did you have to learn Chinese?
I learned how to be polite, but minimally so. Minimally so.
That's good. It wasn't too scary to not have that language at your.
It would be, that's such a great question. It would be scary, like long term.
Yeah.
But I had friends, good friends, and actually, people were just so interested in what we were doing that it made the connection.
And probably doing the art was like a communication too.
Yes,
So you have-
exactly. And I had that experience. I used to be the art therapist at the Boston School for the Deaf. And before they hired me, I said, you realize I don't know sign language? And they said, that's okay. We understand that art is a language. Well, later on, they reneged on that a little bit. It's like, and now you also have to do all, but I did learn sign. I'm not like fluent in ASL, but I certainly learned enough to communicate with my kids. But truly, when you are, when you're creating something with people, that is really a conversation of a different kind.
Yeah, I think you can sit like this and be making things and feel like you know each other even if you don't.
Yes, yes. And when everybody has made something, if you want to, it can be really, really fun. And maybe we'll use Ron's table. After you have your little object, you can put it on the table so it can have a conversation with all the other special things that are out there.
And we don't know we just don't. We just don't. Like, I just want to play. I need to play.
And,
Don't play as much.
it can,
Should
yeah.
as adults.
So the whole notion of art as play actually is really, really important. So one of the books that we refer to in the intro art therapy class that I teach, Principles of Art Therapy, uses a book by an art therapist called Bruce Moon. At my house, we used to say, "Good night, Bruce Moon." And he has a couple of chapters where he talks about like the different functions is not the best word, but the different functions of art. And he talks about art as soul, and he talks about art as existentialism, and he talks about art as play. And I always at some point say to people, guess what? Play is just as significant as existentialism. Existentialism sounds like a really, really big deal, but playing is so important, and having the permission to play. I've done a big workshop that I called Playful Art, Artful Play. And it was really, really fun. And part of what we did is we made things that we could use to play in the sand. Because we had sand, we didn't have all those little heartfelt objects, Ron, that you were talking about or that you saw on my shelf, but we made things to put in there. And we used this clay. I brought a whole stash of it to Hong Kong.
You said you work primarily with children.
Yeah.
Jane, you want me to have one of the nachos?
Yes.
Yeah, are you ready, Pooh?
Yeah, I think I've said all the things on my list to say. So whatever else I say is informal and in response to what you say. So I can go ahead and eat nachos. Yay.
This video was proudly sponsored by the Southcoast Artists Index. If you want to know more information, go to theartistindex.com.